Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Please come and join us in the plenary session room. We are about to start. All right. As folks are still making their way in from getting a little refreshment this morning, I'll just go ahead and kick us off. Welcome, everyone, to the second National Flash Drought Workshop. We are appreciative of your time, your efforts, your presence in the virtual world with us here today. We have quite a group. We appreciate your talents so much. We're going to put you to work for 2.5 days. So fasten your seatbelts, we're getting started here. NOAA's National Integrated Drought Information System has been working for several years, since even before I joined the program office, 2019 and before that, on the topic of flash drought. Many of you were a part of our 2020 Flash Drought Workshop, and we appreciated your efforts then so much. We just decided we had to do it again, and since COVID's waning, do it in person. So again, thank you for working on this particular project with us, and the benefits are amazingly spreading literally across the world. As you begin to meet each other and chat during this workshop, we do hope you take this as a networking opportunity to continue not just in the subject matter of flash drought, but in weather and climate in general. First of all, let's get started with a few housekeeping items. And if you have any questions at any time, I'll introduce you both to the planning group for this workshop, as well as the local team at UCAR who will be supporting us, and we can just about take care of anything that you might need. First of all, for safety reasons, you entered on the south side of the building. The glass doors. You probably noticed there are also glass doors in the other end of the atrium on the north side. You can only enter this building through the south side. So again, don't try to pull up in the back parking lot and come in the back. You'll have to walk all the way around to the front. However, it is obviously an exit. So do keep in mind that you may exit differently from this plenary session in this building than the way you came in. For this particular room, the plenary room, we have 3 exits, 2 over here on that side. And yes, the airlines have trained me well, and 1 additional exit on this side. So do keep that in mind when you are in the plenary room. Some of our hazards in the local area today on the floor: be careful putting down your backpacks and bags. They are a tripping hazard. We've tried to really take care of most of the cables and cords, which we hope you will be able to use if you need to refresh your batteries. But again, just be aware that they are there. Restrooms. So the atrium is right behind us. If you go to the north side of the building, before you exit the glass doors, go to your right. Those are the men's and women's restrooms for this floor. However, there's 3 levels to this building, and the core of restrooms is all on that side on the 2nd and 3rd floors. At the front desk, please use your electronic documents, e-agendas and such, but there are hard copies available there of the agenda. We will also have an in-person attendees list at that front desk, which has the room assignments for the breakouts, which will be coming up. So do please check that list. And be aware that you will be breaking into regional groups for the breakout sessions according to Northeast, Southeast, and you might end up in a room that isn't exactly where you're from, so do check that list. Finally, there is a list of restaurants for our social opportunities and our networking opportunities. That is at the front desk, along with, I hope maybe later today, some copies of the 2020 Flash Drought Workshop report, hard copies that is. Of course, you can access that online at drought.gov. The plenary sessions will be recorded. The breakout sessions will not be recorded. And if you have any questions about that, or just let me know. The Zoom links and Google Meeting links you should have electronically. The Zoom meeting links primarily for the virtual folks who will be joining us in the plenary sessions. The Google Meeting links are available for the virtual breakouts. Finally, we do have other tools that we will be using. So again, we will be using in the virtual space Jamboard, and in the plenary space Slido. So we'll have phones or laptops will work well for that. That just about covers all of our housekeeping for today, at least. Let's go ahead and begin with the workshop itself. So a little bit about NIDIS. Most of you know us very, very well. We are working to advance drought early warning systems, not just regionally, but drought early warning across the country. And I'm sure you're aware that we have been working in this effort as a result of a congressional mandate, which came about in the early 2000s. Our core capabilities are to convene and coordinate precisely what we're doing here so that we can promote those partnerships that are going to be fruitful in terms of looking at everything that has to do with drought. One of the key components of the regional structure of NIDIS is the fact that information delivery is often best done at a regional or local level. So everything from the new state pages that just premiered on drought.gov to drought status updates produced by the regional coordinators, that is what we call information delivery. And also advancing and integrating research, which is one of the reasons we're here today, to make sure that the research that we are promoting and involved in is definitely becoming a part of the user community. This workshop is highly focused on the interactions and that will occur between researchers and practitioners. As you all probably know, drought has great impacts that we have to look at in other fields of research, everything from fire to taking a look at drought information or indices and indicators. And the National Coordinated Soil Moisture Monitoring Network is something we want to talk a lot about here. We have the director and the lead for that particular network with us today as one of the organizers for this workshop. And you're going to meet Marina in just a few minutes, and she's going to tell us a lot more about the National Coordinated Soil Moisture Network. And again, we do have that report available electronically, the 2020 Flash Drought Workshop report. It has been used as the structure or basis for this workshop as we organized it. So again, if you can go back and during your breaks or maybe tonight for your bedtime reading, definitely take a look at that and see how we've evolved over time. These are our objectives, which most of you have had a chance to take a look at. Learning, networking, the idea of sharing the science, the idea of sharing the practice of applying the science, those are the things that we will cover in the next 2.5 days. And this is what those days will look like. Again, most of you have either hard copy agendas or have seen this electronically, or actually been a part of the development of this workshop. We do appreciate your efforts in that regard. So State of the Science today, moving then to practitioner perspectives, taking a look at some very wonderful applications and services that are available through our Tools Cafe, and that's going to be in the north end there. You see it set up. We hope that that particular opportunity will allow you to not just get a demonstration of those tools, but also pull out your laptops and be ready to play with them, so to speak. The poster session is also set up in the, I think all of the posters are down on this end of the building, but out in the atrium for you to enjoy. And we're going to have some options with socializing later tonight and tomorrow night. Tomorrow morning, we'll start with a coffee chat. So I think you'll enjoy just a slightly different take on a panel discussion. And again, a great interchange is planned for you with regard to that. Case studies. It looks like I skipped a slide. Oh, there we go. Case studies. We'll have the breakout groups for the majority of the afternoon on Wednesday. So again, if you have any questions with what breakout group you've been assigned to, please check with any of the staff, and all of our virtual audience can work with our virtual moderator, Molly Wilson, who will help them with regard to making sure that their input does get included with our plenary session work. And on Thursday, we'll point the finger forward to look at where we're going to go with this particular topic and adjourn and return to get all of that work done. So again, we appreciate your being with us today. One of the key features, as you probably saw in the atrium as you came in, were flip charts. And I will admonish you, this gentleman will not be very happy if you ignore the flip charts. So the key will be to take some of those topics from the 2020 workshop and put down your ideas. Something may come to mind in the break sessions, the lunch period, during a discussion with a colleague. Go straight to the flip chart, find the topic and jot it down. And toward the end of the workshop, you'll begin to see how those ideas will help us move forward. For those who are participating virtually, we do hope that you do feel included. And unfortunately, we're going, because of technology, and we're going to have to make sure that most of the conversation in that very large group is muted with camera off, just to facilitate folks focusing on the chat and getting information into us so we can get it into the plenary session. But there is a NIDIS moderator there who can help with that. And I would like at this point to take this fairly large group through a small exercise of just introduction, so we know each other's faces and names as we go along. And the names on this slide are particular persons, because these are the folks who are working on the technical working group with all of us. They help plan this workshop and will continue to help work with us to plan the future of research and practice in flash drought. So when you meet these people, shake their hands and thank them for their volunteer efforts and their time. I'm going to start with the team from UCAR. And we had Jessica Martinez. She's out at the front desk. I don't think she can hear me right now, but do thank Jessica. She is technically our facility host. Kelvin, you want to wave? Back in the back. His team of technical wizards are just that, wizards. So I've enjoyed working with them to set this workshop up. They include Fletcher and Joey, and any of them can help you during the breakout sessions if there is any technical problems in the rooms upstairs. NIDIS, Marina, please stand. Marina Skimanich. She and I have been working diligently along with the rest of our team, and will lead you through the workshop for the next couple of days, along with Meredith, whom I've lost. There's Meredith. And Joel Lisenby. There's Joel. Thank you, Joel. And Molly again is online. Now it's your turn. And I think I'm going to start on the left side in the back. Jason? Please introduce yourself, name and affiliation, and we'll move right through the room.
We just got a mic.
Thank you.
Okay, Brian Fuchs, National Drought Mitigation Center.
Mark Sabota, National Drought Mitigation Center, University of Nebraska.
Eric Lindquist, State of Connecticut.
Okay. Hi, Jason Odkin, University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Thank you for repeating, Jason. Sorry about the mic.
Ronnie Leeper, NC State.
Danelle Peck, USDA Northern Plains Climate Hub, based in Fort Collins.
Miranda Meehan, North Dakota State University.
Emma Scott, North Carolina State University.
Trent Ford, Illinois State Water Survey at the University of Illinois.
Mindy Figueroa, I work for the Colorado Division of Water Resources.
Kyle Stiffarm for Belknap Indian Committee, Special Projects Coordinator.
Jonathan Weaver, Senior Developer, Midwestern Regional Climate Center.
Kevin Foley, Bureau of Reclamation out of Billings, Montana.
Luther Green, Natural Hazard Center, University of Colorado.
Carson McPherson Kretzky, Natural Hazard Center at UC Colorado.
Art Digatano, Northeast Regional Climate Center at Cornell.
Good morning, Patrick Gerger from the Bureau of Reclamation in Billings, Montana.
Kyle Lessinger, Auburn University.
Phil Lubert, Senior Planner at JEO.
Vineet Sehgal, Texas A&M University.
Etienne, Auburn University.
Sudhanshu Kumar, Auburn University.
Jasia Jannat, University of Georgia.
Klaus Alberton, North Carolina Division of Water Resources.
Hey, good morning. Jamie Dunbar, North Carolina Forest Service, Fire Environment Staff Forester.
Deanna Rush, High Plains Regional Climate Center.
Vikalp Mishra, NASA Sport and University of Alabama, Huntsville.
Lee Ellenberg, University of Alabama, Huntsville, and State Climate Office.
Hi, Katie Goff with the Kansas Water Office.
Good morning, Matt Unruh, Kansas Water Office.
Good morning. My name is Brad Hudgens with the Army Corps of Engineers. I manage our water supply program.
Hi, Sumit Sharma from Oklahoma State University.
Hi, Dan McAvoy, Western Regional Climate Center at the Desert Research Institute.
Mike Hobbins, University of Colorado, and NOAA Physical Sciences Lab.
Alex Krischels, USDA Forest Service and Southern Plains Climate Hub.
Andy Hoyle, NOAA Physical Sciences Laboratory.
Curtis Riganti, National Drought Mitigation Center.
Rachel Bash, Linker Intel.
Jordan Christian, University of Oklahoma.
Malakna Gadafon, New Mexico State University.
Elizabeth Osowski, NIDIS Program Office.
Alan Wang from NOAA Climate Prediction Center.
I'm Sui He and University of Colorado Boulder here and NOAA Global System Lab. Thank you.
Mahmoud Osman from Johns Hopkins University.
Hatim Jali, New Mexico State University.
I'm Joe Casola, NOAA's National Centers for Environmental Information.
Meredith Muth, NOAA's NIDIS program.
Good morning. My name is Vandana Rao. I'm with the Massachusetts Energy and Environmental Affairs Office.
Elliot Wickham, South Carolina State Climate Office.
Hi, Kushan Mohammadi from University of Connecticut.
Good morning, I'm Becky Maddox. I'm with Constellation Nuclear.
And last but not least table.
Peter Goebel, Colorado State University.
Natalie Wade, Washington State Department of Natural Resources.
Maggie Hurwitz from the National Weather Service.
I'm Pam Knox from the University of Georgia Extension.
Burcu Boza, Istanbul Technical University.
Emir Toker, Istanbul Technical University again.
Hi, I am Pablo Spenneman from the National Weather Service from Argentina.
Aldous Droughtons, National Weather Service, Boulder.
That is amazing. Thank you, everybody, for coming again. We have an amazing couple of days ahead of us. I am always amazed by the folks that I've met online virtually, how much taller you really are in person. So again, forgive me if I'm forgetting some names or mismatching names, but it's good to see familiar faces and really take some time to get to know you all. So thanks again. Now I'd like to have Marina come on up. Oh, I did forget a couple slides. My apologies. You've met each other here, but just to give you a feel, we do have about 80 people, a little over 80 now, I think, in person, and over 120 joining us virtually at various times. So again, be mindful of the folks who are virtually kind of trying to connect and ensure that you're aware of what their contributions are. We'll try to make sure that it's a level playing field as best as possible. And I think that brings us back to Marina. Thank you. Take the shortcut.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I'm going to try to be not too jocular. It was actually good that Sylvia missed a slide because I was in the process of getting a corrected link for some of the virtual participants. We actually had a link change. And so anyway, for those of you who are on the virtual audience now, I'm glad you've made it. And I guess people that aren't quite on there yet, we'll get right after my talk. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Just such a thrill to have you all here. And really, we are seeing what we absolutely wanted to see, which is this coming together of practitioners and researchers to get a little bit of a better sense of what we need to do and kind of further our resolve and make progress on flash drought. I'm going to start by just setting the context for the next 2.5 days discussion. As you all have heard now a couple of times, we did have that 2020 workshop. And at that workshop, our purpose was kind of a first time to bring this kind of varied audience together to sort of grapple with what exactly is flash drought, how can we understand it, and what do we need to do to make progress on it. So the emphasis was exploring and extending our understanding, and then thinking about how we could co-develop a pathway forward to make progress in research and other activities. And there were several outcomes from that workshop, but what I'm going to focus on now was our priority list. We developed a list of priority activities and actions that we thought would help us best make progress. So I'm going to go over those now as kind of a preamble to the session 1 State of the Science discussions, where you'll get a little bit more in-depth sense of where things are across the different priority areas from our experts in the room. So here are the 6 priority actions that we identified through that interactive process. And let me just say the we here is the whole community. NIDIS has been taking the lead in helping to bring this community together. But really all of the progress we make and the success we have are going to be a result of all of our engagements. So as a community, these are the priority actions we focused on. Number 1, develop a common framework. Now that out of the blue may not make much sense, but it's a common framework for characterizing flash drought. For those of you who have been a part of this conversation, you know that there have been a number of different definitions, both within the research community and among practitioners, of what exactly is flash drought. We realized we made a lot of progress at the 2020 workshop, but we wanted to extend that. We need a common framework. There may not be one specific definition, one exact number, one specific indicator we look at, but what is our overall framework for understanding what flash drought is? We'll get to a little bit more of what that will be in a moment. But that was our first target. Our second priority, practitioner engagement. In our conversations and in our reflections, we recognize the obvious, which is that flash drought represents itself very differently in different regions, different seasons, and at different sectors. So we needed to do a little bit more to engage with practitioners to understand what their decision timeframes are, what their issues of concern are, and how we can best meet those needs so we can deliver service to the public. Number 3, improving monitoring. So this is just simply, we need better data, more data that helps us understand and get a sense of if flash drought is imminent or maybe possible. That would be both literally more monitoring stations, but also harnessing the data we have in better ways, better tools that would highlight potential flash drought. Number 4, improving prediction. So this is as with monitoring. We've got some prediction tools out there. How can we make them better? How can we improve resolution and some of the accuracy, as well as the more theoretical question of how can we make progress on predictability itself. And I'm going to defer to our experts on predictability in a couple more presentations. I'll get into some of the details there, but that was one of our targets. Number 5, support planning and response. Again, this is where the rubber meets the road. Can we build the decision support tools and information sources that will help those of you who advise people in the field and those of you who are in the field to make the best decisions, to be the best prepared for a flash drought? And finally, network building. And again, that's sort of the foundation of this meeting today and all of our effort. Let's create this community of practice so that we together can make better progress in helping the world, or certainly our countries, respond to flash drought. Okay, so those are our targets. How did we do? So number 1, priority action 1, developing a common framework since 2020. Well, the things that I wanted to highlight, and so this will not be comprehensive, but it's just sort of a few things to highlight. As part of that wind-up for the workshop, I just did a literature review. The point of that was to get looking across the research literature. What are the ways that the different researchers are defining flash drought? Can we get down their methods and the indicators they're using and the triggers they're using so that we can kind of make sense of this, what maybe has been a bit of a smear of different ideas. So we did the literature review, and then from that, we also developed a spreadsheet on those events and indicators that researchers had identified. And so that's a resource, by the way, for those researchers here in the audience that might be a little bit of a reference. In addition to that, after the workshop, we worked with our planning committee, again, several of the subject matter experts that are going to be presenting in the next session on establishing sort of our baseline understanding and our agenda for change in this Bulletin of the American Meteorological Society, BAM's article, Getting Ahead of Flash Drought from Early Warning to Early Action. And then a number of you have been continuing, of course, to do your research and publish your papers, and that is also helping to set this baseline for what our framework is. How do we want to look at flash drought? What is the key concept that we want to hold on to as we're looking at different measures and different conditions? And that is what's written there on the bottom. Flash drought is a rapid onset or intensification of drought leading to impacts. So that's the kernel of our definition. It's something that has to come on quickly. How quickly is still going to be under research. And then it has to be leading to impacts, making some kind of impact in the world. So that's number 1. Number 2, practitioner engagement. We've had a number of regional discussions. Southeast had a fairly involved meeting program on flash drought, and they'll be reporting on that, I think, tomorrow, giving a sense for other regions, their kind of thinking about how they can make progress in their context on flash drought. As well, the Northeast and Southern Plains have had conversations, and we'll be continuing that. In addition, we ran NIDIS a 3-part webinar that was our way of doing our best to broadcast our understanding to the larger community and also highlight some of the important tools that they could use, decision makers could use to help assess drought and whether it's flash drought or not coming on. We sponsored with the USGS a series of listening sessions. They were focused on hydrologic drought, but this issue of flash drought and the notion of what do practitioners need to help with their decisions was one of the things we focused on there. And then finally, several of you I know, both practitioners and researchers, have been working together on some research projects that, again, embody this idea of if we're going to develop a tool, if we're going to improve a tool, we need to know best what will help the people that actually use it. So that's pretty exciting. In terms of improving monitoring, well, first of all, there have been a number of tools that have been developed. There are a few already identified as of 2020, but several more are coming up. Then they're going to be featured in the Tools Cafe. We're also more generally recognizing that even as we want to look for specific tools related to flash drought, there are also other tools, Climate Engine as an example, other resources on the web that can help inform us about conditions that would also support our response and planning for flash drought. In addition to that kind of tool harnessing, we're also seeing some really important increases in monitoring, and I'm going to point here to soil moisture expansions. Upper Missouri River Basin, 500 plus new stations going in. That's really going to create a data-rich source of information for that region and will be of value broadly to researchers as they're trying to tune and validate their models. Southeastern US as well, which I think you may be hearing about again tomorrow. Alabama, Georgia, Florida, doing a really exciting project where they're both installing and increasing their actual data monitoring and developing important applications, including flash drought applications from that information. So that's great. And then there's several states and actually even nonprofits that have been looking into and making decisions about expanding soil moisture monitoring. So it's pretty exciting that we are seeing a lot more attention to bringing in that in situ soil moisture data. But there are also other monitoring expansions. I'm not an expert, but I know the USGS has been doing a really exciting job of instrumenting different major basins with their next generation water observing system. If any of you on the virtual audience are a part of that, please put something in the chat and we can learn more about it generally. But it's again, there's a sense that we're making a lot of progress there. We're actually for improving prediction. So again, as with monitoring tools, we've got some tools developed in the prediction space that we'll be featuring the Tools Cafe. And in addition, as an outcome of our workshop, we did develop this research priorities list, which NIDIS has been sharing across the federal landscape with our other federal partners, reflecting the fact that, of course, this is it's going to take all of us to do funding and all of us to make progress in some of these research topics. And then, although it's going to take a little bit more time to actually see the effect of this in operational tools, as a result of that 2020 workshop, there's much broader recognition, I must speak certainly within NOAA, of the attention that land surface modeling and modeling improvements can make to flash drought and other kinds of drought detection. So it might have been something that sort of people understood before, but now it's been explicit and has been now folded into some of the NOAA planning, which is really exciting to see. Priority Action 5, supporting planning and response. So again, with our regional juice discussions, we've really been trying to not only elicit what people's, practitioners' needs are, but also what kind of tools might be able to support those. We've got early on, we did a tools handout, and now we've got this Tools Cafe again, our attempt to do our part to support the work that you all do in the field. And then a very exciting new thing for NIDIS, we are initiating this climate adaptive drought planning platform. And this is something that you may hear about a little bit more at this workshop, but this will be our new attempt to more formally and comprehensively support planning activities on drought in general. And of course, I should say, and maybe should have said from the beginning, we recognize that flash drought is a certain kind of drought, but many of the resources that we are harnessing for flash drought are relevant, of course, for broader drought management. Finally, community building, network community building. Well, we had the workshop in 2020. We, from that, have built a flash drought technical working group. Sylvia was highlighting that with, again, across researchers and practitioners. We've been taking the word out to, we, again, being the community, not just NIDIS, to the major conference sessions, talking about flash drought, what it means, what we need to do, et cetera. And then here and now, we've got this second National Flash Drought Workshop. So that's the progress that we've made, but what's missing? What have we not done? So I've got my list here, and it's not just my list. I did consult with my colleagues, but so our list, our little NIDIS list, as a starting point for our conversations. But really the point, again, of this workshop is to get all of your list, to create an updated community list of what we need to work on. But my list, starting there at the top, we know that impacts vary by region and season. We know that's critical to understanding flash drought. We know that maybe the indicators that you'd want to look at in different places would be different because the impacts are different. Okay, we know that. We need to do a better job of documenting it so we can make sure any single researcher, if he's working on the Northeast, he'll say, well, I really should focus on these things, or now I might should consider focusing on these things. So that's going to be something I think we need to target. I put this next one on here, understanding that the predictability people might have a different opinion, but a little bit from our vantage point, we're thinking that we still need a bit more of a plan how we can improve predictability. It is a kind of a farther end theoretical research target, but it would help groups like us, NIDUS, fund people like you if we had a little bit more sense of the plan. Now, Andy Hoyle, you'll correct me in just a little bit maybe on that. Number 3, better understanding management timelines. Again, this is all about making sure we're tuning our solutions, tuning our tools to the needs you have. So we need to do a little bit better job on that. And a related point, integrated decision tools for practitioners. So there again, can we get those service and resources out in the way that best helps you? So again, our list of what's missing, but we want to hear from you on what else we should be focusing on. So that's my talk. And if you got any questions, let me know.